CTV News with Maya Johnson.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin with an update to a story we brought you in January. A business in the Plateau was robbed on Boxing Day. Police now have a warrant for a suspect in the case, and he's alleged to have more than a dozen other victims. Mac Grillo has the latest.
Janice Beatty says she was finishing up her shift at a pet store in Verdun when someone walked in looking for a specific product. She walked to the back of the store to find the item, and she thought the client would follow.
I looked behind me and I didn't see him there, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Instead, the man took Beatty's backpack.
While I was at the back of the store, he had grabbed my backpack and was going through it. You can see clearly in the video. Put my bag back in place, so I had no idea my wallet was even taken.
In an arrest warrant, Beatty is listed as one of 17 victims of Sean Magna. He's facing several charges, including theft, fraud, and robbery.
The kind of thing you're like, you see it on TV all the time, and then you just would never imagine someone would have the guts to really pull that off.
In January, CTV spoke with another robbery victim, an employee at a Plateau business called Espace Skins. In that incident, security footage shows a man making off with a cash register. Prosecutors allege Magna committed crimes from July until as recently as April. That's when he's accused of stealing from Beatty, who says $3,000 was taken from her line of credit.
It's definitely concerning because of the way he did it. I mean, he clearly knows what he's doing, and he's going to probably keep doing it and stealing people's money.
Beatty had no idea there are many other alleged victims until she was contacted by CTV. She hopes police can make an arrest to stop other people from losing their hard-earned money. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
Quebec's major police forces have decided to team up to fight extortion attempts against business owners. The initiative comes as more people say they're living in a climate of fear. Stéphane Giroux reports.
Quebec's police forces say they're unifying their efforts to go after the extortion of businesses in Quebec.
And with the strategy that we're deploying, we'll make sure that our 28 police organizations are collaborating and bring that information to one center.
Police will work with one central command where various forces will coordinate their investigations. In Montreal, the number of businesses facing extortion has doubled in the last 4 years.
So always start pretty much with a verbal threat, and that verbal threat gives you to have that protection. If you don't pay, you won't have any protection, and after that, bad things happen.
Police say their strategy will involve visiting bars, stores, and other merchants to remind them they can report what they see and point out that paying protection to criminals won't buy peace of mind.
Even though you pay to one part of organized crime, maybe another part will come and ask you also for protection. So it's not the same thing if we go back 30 years ago.
The one consistent pattern so far is that most of these crimes are committed by teenagers. They're often paid by adult sponsors, but the problem is the sentences, once they get caught, tend to be rather low.
Quebec's domestic security minister wants the federal government to increase prison sentences for those crimes.
And this is a reality for Quebec, this is a reality for Ontario, this is a reality for BC as well, unfortunately. So we all asked our federal colleagues to do something about it.
And in the meantime, restaurant owners say they're glad they're being taken seriously.
And it's very important right now that the restaurant owners, they feel heard and feel safe. So it's going to help them, to go through this.
But most targeted business owners say they'll sleep better at night once criminals move on to something else. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
A 20-year-old man was hospitalized after being shot in Saint Laurent last night. Police were called around 11:30 p.m. to respond to a shooting at a gas station at the corner of Côte-Vertu and Bégin. The man was found outside of a car with several gunshot wounds to the lower body, but his injuries are not life-threatening. For more than a decade, the health and well-being of Montreal teens has been on the decline. High school students from across the city gathered downtown today to voice their concerns and ideas for making improvements. Angela McKenzie has more.
People think it makes us softer because we talk about mental health and stuff. But
these teens are talking about issues affecting the health of the city's young people. Along with other Montreal high school students, they're sharing their experiences and ideas to adults working in health and education. Timur Elbagami says teens need judgment-free spaces to talk about mental health and need to be taught how to ask for help.
A lot of teens, I find, they just need a source of support, and especially specialized support, and often that is not received.
These conversations are in response to data collected by Montreal Public Health.
The data is showing that the health of young people, for most part, is not going better, it's going worse.
Over a 13-year period, overall teen health declined by 12%, and over 7 years, their mental health declined by nearly 10%. While Public Health found the pandemic made things worse, it's not the only factor.
Polarization, violence, climate change. So there's a lot of things going on in the society that makes young people less confident about the future.
The head of the Lester B. Pearson School Board says today's teens face more uncertainty than previous generations.
These are not just the same issues about mental health, friendship, violence, habits and lifestyle choices. It's also within that backdrop of complex world politics, limited resources, students feeling pressured to perform.
Public Health also found girls' health is declining more than boys. Kayla Wani says social media can mess with confidence.
just because you see something online, if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
For Lily Brender Ashe, friendships are important, but forging new ones can be difficult.
I think it's definitely important to maybe go outside of your comfort zone and talk to new people and talk to people who seem a little quieter or shy.
As they look to build brighter and healthier futures for their generation and beyond. Angela McKenzie, CTV News.
A 3-day summit on human trafficking has wrapped up here in Montreal with a somber call to action for all Canadians. The message is that we can all do something to interrupt the flow of human trafficking in Canada. The event's organizer is a group called Not in My City. It was started by Canadian country music singer Paul Brandt after he witnessed a child being trafficked many years ago.
There is a song that I wrote on one of my projects called Worth. It talks about the worth of an individual. And, you know, I'll never forget the first fundraiser that we held for Not in My City 9 years ago. There were 7 women who were there who had been trafficked here in Canada, and they didn't disclose. It was a fancy event. You know, a lot of people with money there to raise awareness and funds. And one of the women started weeping. She just started crying. And I said, what is it? And she looked back at the tent full of people in this beautiful setting, and she said, I can't believe that all these people are gathered here for a girl like me. And I've heard that phrase over and over again from survivors of this crime, where they believed the lie that someone told them that they were only worth what someone would pay for them.
Brandt's Not in My City website has signs to look for to spot victims. There were more than 4,500 incidents of human trafficking reported to police across Canada between 2013 and 2023. Half of the metro stations in Montreal are in need of serious repairs, and Quebec Solidaire says the money to fix them does exist, but it's stuck in Ottawa. Sweeta Rassi has that story.
At the de l'Église metro station in Verdun, water is leaking from the ceiling. And for commuters, it's a bad sight.
No, it's tough because it looks terrible. Even from the inside, it doesn't feel safe.
There's a lot of leaks.
I'm a student, so it's vital for me to be able to take metro.
The STM network is deteriorating rapidly, and assessments from the transportation agency shows nearly half of its stations are in poor condition. 5 of them received an E rating, the lowest possible score, meaning they have serious infrastructure problems that could pose safety risks. De l'Église is one of them. And it's also where Quebec Solidaire chose to make a point.
That's why it's an emergency situation.
Quebec Solidaire spokesperson Ruba Razal is calling on the Premier to go after Ottawa's Public Transit Fund, a federal program providing long-term funding for transportation projects across the country. The money is supposed to start rolling out this year. and Quebec Solidaire believes the province's fair share should be $5 billion. Quebec's Transportation Ministry told CTV News the discussions with the federal government on the Canada Public Transit Fund are progressing well, and there is no indication that funding will not be up to date. Brian Nash is with Trajectoire Quebec.
The government of Quebec needs to get that deal done as soon as possible so that the provincial government and all the Quebec's population can benefit of that money that is actually theirs.
The STM is also urging both levels of government to accelerate discussions and release the funds. But at this point, it's still unclear when that will happen. Sweeterassi, CTV News.
Quebec's minimum wage will rise to $16.60 an hour tomorrow. That's up just over 3%, keeping pace with the rate of inflation. But as Matt Gilmore reports, researchers say it's not even close to a living wage.
More than 250,000 Quebec workers will be getting a small bump in pay on Friday. Quebec's Labour Minister says raising the minimum wage 50 cents to $16.60 an hour will protect workers' purchasing power. But researchers say minimum wage workers are already earning well below what they call a living wage, and this increase leaves them even further behind.
It's not possible to get outside of the poverty while working at minimum wage.
Evelyn Couturier is with IRIS, the Institute for Socioeconomic Research and Information. She says a living income is enough to afford a modest lifestyle, with food, shelter, and transportation, some savings for emergencies, and the ability to afford some cultural activities.
We try to do a budget of what it means to live outside of poverty.
In Montreal, that now costs $41,000 for a single person, $56,000 for a single parent and one child, and close to $89,000 a year for a family of four. And remember, these are expenses equal to earnings after tax.
To afford a living income, they would need to have a salary, a wage of $30 an hour, which is much higher than the minimum wage.
A full-time minimum wage earner's take-home pay is just over $2,100 per month, with almost all of it going to food and housing.
It's not unusual for us to see people who are earning perhaps the current minimum wage already spending about 3/4 of their income on rent.
Average rents are increasing between 4% and 6% this year, while food prices are projected to jump another 6%.
The average family will spend about $1,400 and change per month, basically.
At a certain point, the numbers simply don't add up. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
Well, the Montreal Canadiens are headed back home and have the chance to close out the series at the Bell Centre. And that's not the only good news for sports fans. All three of Montreal's hockey teams are in the playoffs. Kelly Gregg on that.
From Tampa,
Montreal right back
to Montreal. The playoffs are heading back to the Bell Centre, and the Habs have the chance to close the series out at home for the first time since advancing to the Stanley Cup Final in 2021.
The crowd's going to be loud. It's going to be buzzing in there. Everyone's going to be excited for us to close it out.
But that energy in the stands can't go too far onto the ice.
I think we just got to kind of stay even-keeled through all of it, and I think that's kind of a big thing. It's going to be loud. Fans are going to be excited, but big thing for us is just to kind of not get too high, not get too low.
There's so much anticipation, even the electric company is getting in on the buzz. Hydro-Quebec jokingly modifying its logo to remove the Tampa Bay-style lightning bolt. Despite being outshot 24-40, the Habs managed to hang on to win Game 5 on the road. And it was Brendan Gallagher, who was a healthy scratch for the first 4 games, who opened the scoring.
Welcome back, Brendan Gallagher.
He understands that he's probably closer to the end than he is to the beginning, and every opportunity that he gets in the lineup, he really does have to make it count.
Pass it right, it's
And it's not just the Habs generating excitement. The Laval Rocket won their first playoff game against the Marlies last night, 3-1.
It is a group who have that nice mix of veterans and younger players who are coming in with loads of talent and players down there who Montreal Canadiens fans will see at the Bell Centre in the not-too-distant future.
On top of that, the Montreal Victoire are also getting ready for their first playoff game this Saturday.
I think just intensity overall in the league, right? Everyone's amped up for this. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting.
And now, with the Edmonton Oilers on the brink of elimination in the playoffs, it's possible the Canadiens will be the only Canadian team left. They have the chance to close it out tomorrow on home ice. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
And the Habs star right winger Cole Caulfield is a finalist for the Lady Byng Trophy. The award goes to the NHL player voted the best at combining sportsmanship with playing ability. Caulfield led the Habs with 51 goals in the regular season while taking only 14 penalty minutes. The other finalists are Ottawa Senators defenseman Jake Sanderson and Los Angeles Kings center Anze Kopitar. They were chosen by members of the Professional Hockey Writers Association. Coming up, no relief in sight.
Whether you be in Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, or the East Coast, Atlantic Canada, prices are going up everywhere.
But just how high can gas prices go? And Canadian cities getting competitive, trying to make the case they're the best place for a multinational bank. U.S. President Donald Trump has authorized a new pipeline that would move Canadian oil to the U.S.
Slightly different than the last administration. They wouldn't sign a pipeline deal, and we have pipelines going up.
The pipeline would transport Canadian crude from the border to Wyoming and could cost about $2 billion. It was proposed by U.S. company Bridger and Canadian company Southbow. The pipeline would revive portions of the canceled Keystone XL oil pipeline. If it goes ahead, the project could increase Canada's crude oil exports to the U.S. by more than 12%. We'll get ready to pay more at the gas pumps as the war with Iran shows no signs of ending. That uncertainty caused global oil prices to spike again this morning, hitting a 4-year high. Adrian Gabriel reports.
Fuming while fueling up.
I'm fed up. I can't take it anymore.
From fed up to frustration to, the next step is despair.
The pain at the pump has hit a new peak due to these average prices across the country today, with Vancouver topping out as the most expensive city at nearly $2.17 a litre. Depending on where you live, a cross-country spike between 8 to 12 cents is predicted to be on tap for tomorrow.
Whether you be in Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, or the East Coast, Atlantic Canada, prices are going up everywhere.
While the price humanity has paid for the war in Iran can't be qualified in dollars and cents, the subsequent closure of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran is costing the global economy billions, with 20% of the world's oil supply unable to pass through these troubled waters.
The United States blockade of Iranian shipping is costing the Iranian regime about $500 million a day in lost oil revenues. And for the United States, they've spent about $25 billion worth of munitions.
Economists say the closure of the strait has already been priced into the oil market. Fears of a prolonged conflict in Iran is now driving prices towards record levels.
The more that prices continue to rise is more belief in the markets that this isn't going to resolve itself anytime soon.
Even if a peace deal were to be reached today, those keeping a close eye on the oil market believe it would take months before any reprieve arrives.
The gap that has been created is over 1 billion barrels of oil a day is missing. It's going to take a long time to recover that. Vessels don't travel at light speed to move oil from one place to another.
For Canadians, the impact could reach far beyond the price at the pumps. If the conflict isn't resolved by this summer, there's legitimate concerns that inflation could once again tick upwards, along with interest rates.
Some petroleum analysts believe without a timely resolution in the Strait of Hormuz, we could see gas prices across Canada climb another 50 cents per litre in the months ahead. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Soccer officials from around the world are gathering in Vancouver to attend the 76th FIFA Congress. And FIFA's president said Iran will play in the World Cup despite the ongoing war.
Iran will be participating at the FIFA World Cup 2026. And of course, Iran will play in the United States of America. And the reason for that is very simple, dear friends, is because we have to unite. We have to bring people together. It is my responsibility, it is our responsibility. Football unites the world, FIFA unites the world, you unite the world, we unite the world.
Iran will open the tournament in Los Angeles on June 15th against New Zealand. The players are still training in Turkey until they can get to the U.S. Iranian officials are not attending the Congress after they were denied entry to Canada. A Flotilla organizer from Montreal says Israel has detained 2 Canadians. They were arrested when the Israeli Navy intercepted a flotilla of boats bound for Gaza.
I think we're about to be intercepted. We have a very large military vessel very, very close to us, shining a very bright light.
This video shows activists on one of the boats after boarding. Ihab Latoyev says 22 vessels were intercepted off the coast of Greece while on a mission to break the 20-year naval blockade of Gaza. About 175 activists were taken into custody. The flotilla departed from Barcelona earlier this month. Canada will be the headquarters for a new multinational bank focused on defense. The bank will provide long-term, low-cost financing for defense projects in NATO member countries and for their allies. But as Judy Trin reports, one question remains. What Canadian city will the bank be in?
As NATO nations ramp up to spend 5% of their GDP on defense by 2035, a new multinational bank with headquarters in Canada is being created to help smaller companies access loans to expand.
By pooling together, we're stronger financially, and it's a testament to Canada's reputation, Canada's commitment, Canada's financial expertise.
The Defense, Security and Resilience Bank could consist of as many as 40 NATO nations and allies, all contributing to a funding pool of $135 billion U.S. You have in the Ottawa office? This Ottawa technology company uses AI to help the Royal Canadian Navy analyze the moves of enemy ships. Anvil wants to expand to Europe and is hoping the multinational defense bank will open doors.
Having people who have walked that path before and can help guide successful companies like ours through that path, I think that's a major benefit for Canada, and I'm very hopeful that the DSRB will be that will be one of those conduits.
Where in Canada the defense bank will be located hasn't been determined, but the lobbying has already begun from Vancouver to Montreal to Toronto.
We have all the banks here, the financial sector here.
The national capital is also making a case.
We're the home of 130 plus foreign missions and embassies. The World Bank is in Washington. It's not in New York City. This is the place where defense innovation is happening.
At this point, no start date for the bank has been set, and it's also unclear how much each member nation, including Canada, will contribute to the pool of funds. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Divers helped hoist a bus out of the Seine River near Paris today. The bus hit a parked car, veered off the road and plunged into the river with 4 people on board. The trainee driver, her instructor, and 2 passengers were all rescued. It's not clear why the driver lost control. Cables were attached to the bus to pull it out. Still to come, a spectacular sight.
For a minute, thought, is this the second coming of the big guy? Like, holy cow.
What caused that brilliant display in parts of BC? And Queen Camilla's role in a reunion revolving around Winnie the Pooh. From the Premier's trip to Washington to the Prime Minister's economic update, it has been quite a week in politics. Joining us now is political analyst Tom Mulcair. Good to see you again, Tom.
Good to be with you, Maya.
So let's start with the economic update out of Ottawa this week. A lower deficit than initially expected, but there's still been a lot of criticism of how the Liberals are handling the country's finances. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it was a busy week. So Monday saw Prime Minister Carney giving a tremendous press conference where he rolled out something that he says is going to be akin to what exists in other countries that have oil revenues. He says he wants to have a sovereign wealth fund. He did a great job explaining it. It was very convincing. And he was going to mention that there was $25 billion of Canadian government money going in to feed into it. But he was talking about respecting First Nations rights to have a piece of any new big project. And of course, the average Canadian would be able to buy in like buying a Canada savings bond. So all very good. Next day, not so good. So the bright light was the one that you just mentioned. Ooh, we wake up and we find out that this year's deficit is not nearly as bad as we thought it was going to be. Great, because it was huge. It was almost 80 billion. Now it's going to be 65. And instead of putting the money away and saving it for a rainy day or lowering the overall debt of the country, which is massive and unmanageable, that will lead, by the way, very soon we're going to be paying $80 billion a year just in interest. So that's $2,000 a year per every man, woman, and child in the country in interest lost, thrown out the window because we don't know how to manage. So then they said, well, instead of doing any of those things, we're going to spend as much of it as we can. So they had $6 billion for manpower training, which has nothing whatsoever to do with the federal government. But they said, no, it's for big projects and we'll work it out with the provinces. But it's going to be a mess and an army of new volunteers. Maya, this federal government boasts that the reason that they have a little bit more money is because they're such great managers. But what they've done is they created a standalone agency for military procurement and the army of bureaucrats that has to go into that. A standalone agency for housing and the army of bureaucrats that has to go into that. And a standalone agency for these big new infrastructure projects and the army of bureaucrats that have to go into that. Oh, and by the way, if they're going to start taking care of training of tradesmen and such across the country, they're going to require an army of federal bureaucrats to do that. So for the really great management, I think we're going to have to come back some other time.
Okay, so less than impressed with the economic update this week, Tom. Okay, other news out of Ottawa, and this was probably one of the worst kept secrets in Quebec and Canadian politics. Alexandre Boulris making a move, leaving the NDP so he can run in Quebec in the provincial election for Quebec Solidaire. How significant is this?
Well, the new leader of the NDP federally, Avi Lewis, says he's not going to sweat this one, which is a bit odd because he now is the leader of a party that doesn't have a single member of parliament east of Winnipeg. And Alexandre Boulris was the last man standing from the Orange Wave of 2011. Going over to Quebec Solidaire is a big boost for Quebec Solidaire. I don't think it's going to change anything, though. I think that the Quebec Solidaire is going to get NDP'd, that we're going to be heading into an election where the ballot question is, who can stop the separatists? And if the answer is Charles Milliard's Liberals, people will go there. If the answer is, and it seems more and more likely, it'll be Christine Fréchette's CAQ, then all the votes will go there. And that will be in the last couple of weeks of the campaign. The same way the NDP got squeezed out of the two-way race between Poilievre and Carney, Quebec Solidaire is going to get squeezed out in this one. Despite very good ideas on paper, they're just not catching fire with the average voter, and they're going to lose a whole bunch of seats.
So you mentioned Christine Fréchette and the CAQ. I wanted to get to Premier Fréchette because she was in Washington this week. She managed to secure a meeting with U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, a very influential member of Trump's cabinet. We have to keep in mind she was only sworn in as Premier 2 weeks ago, so she certainly doesn't seem to be wasting any time.
No, this is a very impressive choreographed set of moves by Christine Fréchette. There was a game plan behind it. It was actually developed by the people around Premier Legault on his way out. He has some very good people, especially on communications. And whether it was going to be Bernard Drinville or Christine Fréchette, they were going to get the same briefing and the same chances. Now, it's going so well for Christine Fréchette that some of the separatists who write comments in the papers or provide them on air are saying this is all part of a federalist plot to make sure that Fréchette can defeat the Parti Québécois. That was my favorite. That was in the papers today. And they go through it saying there's no way she would have met Jameson Greer if the federal government wasn't helping her. They want to defeat the Parti Québécois. Well, this just in, the Canadian government has every interest in defeating the separatists because the last thing anybody in Canada wants is another referendum or separation. But here in Quebec, 70%, more than 70% of people want nothing to do with separation. So guess what? They're going to get together, decide what the strategic voting is going to require. And again, in my view, as things stand now, that could change. But as things now stand, I think that people are going to be moving over, and I've seen lots of Anglos and Allos saying the same thing. They're ready to move over to Christine Fléchette, who's a very fresh face in all of this, vote for the CAQ to make sure that they block the separatists. So we'll see how it rolls out between now and the beginning of October when the election takes place.
It's going to be a very interesting one. No one knows what will happen.
We're going to be busy, Maya. We're going to be busy.
We sure are. Okay, thanks, Tom.
All the best.
A longtime Liberal and former cabinet minister is moving on from Parliament. Former Environment Minister Jonathan Wilkinson has been appointed as Canada's next ambassador to the European Union. Wilkinson says he's taking on the role for the same reason he entered public life, to serve Canada. Wilkinson has been an MP since 2015, representing a riding in Vancouver.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Well, in the last 24 hours, it's been roughly 15 millimeters of rain for the greater Montreal area, but that could soon turn around. Here's where we are sitting right now. We're at a temperature of 9 degrees in Mirabel and Montreal. Now, 9 degrees was actually our low for the day, but we did hit that expected high of 11 really early in the morning. A reminder that our normals are now sitting at plus 16 for our daytime high and plus 5 for our normal overnight low. That said, let's take a look at what is coming our way tonight. So we're expecting a low of 4 degrees along with cloudy skies clearing out. So good news there. As we head into tomorrow morning, we're looking at a wake-up temperature of 5 along with a sunny start before we see a few more clouds rolling in the afternoon, but those are expected to bring along a warmer daytime high at 13 degrees. So here's what our futurecast is showing us. If we set that in motion, again, those clouds clearing out for this evening at around midnight, staying clear until about 2 in the afternoon for the Montreal area. That's when we start seeing some clouds moving over from the west. Also seeing some scattered showers in the southwestern regions of the province. But Montreal should be looking pretty good for tomorrow. And let's take a look at the weekend temperatures. So for Saturday and Sunday, expecting to see cooler days than we had last weekend. So our daytime highs are sitting at 11 and 12 for Saturday and Sunday. That's along with beautiful sunny skies, though, coming in. So a few clouds as well. Watch out for Monday because that's when we could see a return to some possible rain. So we are forecasting a light 2 millimeters of showers on Monday morning with a warm daytime high of 18. Expecting another warm high on Tuesday with a temperature of 17, but a bit more of that rain. So on Tuesday, that could look like roughly 7 millimeters. A heavier 11 millimeters could come on Wednesday. And it's looking like rain up until at least Thursday when we could get another 5 millimeters coming in. And a quick lotto reminder that tomorrow Lotto Max is offering a jackpot of 60 million plus 6 Max Millions plus 6 times $100,000. And you can buy your ticket in store or online. Good luck.
A brilliant display in parts of BC early yesterday morning. A meteor was captured on dash cams and security systems as it streaked across the sky over Vancouver Island. The meteor crossed the length of the island and the flash of light was seen as far away as Oregon.
All of a sudden, a bright light flashed and it startled me because it kind of lit the room and it was very brief. And then it was subsequently additional flashes into the room.
Another meteor caused a sonic boom over parts of BC in early March. It's a Winnie the Pooh reunion thanks to Queen Camilla. Rue is now back with its friends from the 100-acre wood at the New York Public Library. Perry Russum is in New York.
At the New York City Public Library, the missing character to the Winnie the Pooh exhibit is now back with its friends from the 100-acre wood. Rue arriving on a Union Jack pillow presented by Queen Camilla. With the original Roo lost in an apple orchard in the 1930s, the new replica Roo was made by the same company that created the toys owned by Christopher Robin Milne, the son of A.A. Milne, the author of Winnie the Pooh.
One at a time, okay? One finger at a time.
The royal family posting on Instagram what they're calling Roo's Great Adventure, traveling with the Queen from Buckingham Palace on board Their Majesty's plane, reading alongside the Queen, looking out the window and seeing New York City for the first time. The Queen placing Roo in her handbag and arriving headed to One World Trade Center before the library. This year is the 100th anniversary of Winnie the Pooh, the Queen celebrating by reading to children at the library.
With little Roo reunited, the royal family posting a quote from A.A. Milne on Instagram. It reads, "Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart." Perry Russum, ABC News, New York.
Still ahead, a chance encounter.
I refer to her as my guardian angel.
The mystery tourist whose concern may have saved a man's life.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Your Health, brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for limited time.
A tour guide in Nova Scotia is sharing an incredible story about a chance encounter with a mystery tourist who very likely saved his life. Here's Emma Convey.
This is where it all began in 1795, and hopefully this is where it's going to end, one way or the other.
The global hit TV series The Curse of Oak Island is filmed here. It holds a special place in historian Charles Barkhouse's heart. He grew up in the area and has a passion for the over 220-year-old mystery. Last September, while guiding a tour, he also met his guardian angel here.
After the tour, we get back to the base area there, and a lady got off, and she was approaching me, and I thought she was going to ask me a question about Oak Island, but she introduced herself, and she said, "Could I examine your neck?" And she kind of felt my neck, and she said, "You got to call your doctor immediately."
Which is exactly what he did. After several tests, he was diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
They took the cancer out, discovered that it was a medullary thyroid cancer, which, if left undetected and untreated, will affect your liver, your lungs, and is fatal.
It's a rare and aggressive form of cancer. They also removed over 40 lymph nodes. 23 of those were cancerous too. He's thankful for the mystery tourist every day.
I put a post up about this because early detection and early treatment for anything is important. And there were some things stated on the internet that just wasn't true, and I wanted to set the record straight. So I refer to her as my guardian angel.
Barkhouse doesn't know her name. Given the turn of events, he wishes he had taken her contact information to thank her.
Everything lined up. It was like a perfect storm that day. You know, everything lined up, and she was in the right place at the right time. And I wish she was here right now. I would thank her, because I'm telling you, she probably saved my life.
Emma Convey, CTV News, Oak Island, Nova Scotia.
It's tax deadline day for a majority of Canadians, most people having until the end of the day to file their 2025 income tax return. Last year, Canadians filed more than 33 million tax returns, with 93% filed online. The Canada Revenue Agency says more than $45 billion in refunds were delivered, with taxpayers getting an average refund of about $2,000.
Business News, brought to you by Au Vieux de Louvre, where memories and meals come together.
Real gross domestic product was up 0.2% in February. Morella Fernandez has details.
Manufacturing was strong in February. It expanded 1.8%. That's the largest monthly expansion for manufacturing since January 2023. In that sector, both machinery and transportation equipment did well. There was also more crude production in Saskatchewan and Newfoundland and Labrador. Real GDP for March is expected to be flat. Apple's revenue for the quarter is up 17% to just over $111 billion US. The iPhone maker is getting a boost from its MacBook Neo and MacBook Pro products. The less expensive Neo has been sold out at some retailers. But sales in the Americas did not meet expectations, but sales exceeded in China and other parts of Asia. Meta stock dropped over 8% today after the social media company reported earnings on Wednesday. Investors are concerned about Meta constantly revising how much it'll invest in AI. Alphabet stock is up 10% after it reported solid results yesterday for its AI and cloud business. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 73.62. West Texas Intermediate is up to 105.07. Western Canadian Select up another $4 to 82.76. And the TSX bounced back today, spiking 645 points. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morel Fernandez.
As the AI race heats up, experts are warning against handing over too much power to machines. A software company turned to an AI tool for help, but the software went rogue. Sophie Flay explains.
Questions are being raised about the safety of artificial intelligence after a tech CEO claimed an AI tool wiped out all of his company's data in just 9 seconds. Jer Crane is the founder of Pocket OS, which develops software for car rental companies. He says he was using Cursor, an AI coding agent, to work on a routine task when it encountered a credential mismatch and decided, entirely on its own initiative, to fix the problem by deleting a volume. The AI had deleted Pocket OS's entire production database. The company was able to restore the data, but only to the most recent backup from 3 months ago. Crane says the company lost all car reservation data and new customer signups from that time. Crane also shared the AI agent, powered by Anthropic's Claude model, admitted its mistake when confronted. It wrote, "I didn't verify. I ran a destructive action without being asked. I didn't understand what I was doing before doing it." So far, Cursor and Anthropic have not responded to our request for comment. It comes as experts raise the alarm about the growing power of AI.
Imagine a world where everyone had a nuclear bazooka, basically.
Earlier this month, Anthropic said one of its new models, Mythos, placed in a secure environment with no internet access, managed to break out.
During testing, Claude Mythos Preview broke out of a sandbox environment, built a moderately sophisticated multi-step exploit to gain internet access, and emailed a researcher while they were eating a sandwich in the park.
And earlier this week, Elon Musk predicted that artificial intelligence would be smarter than humans as soon as next year. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Time now to check in with Caroline. And Caroline, you'll have details tonight on a report from the Quebec coroner.
Yes, that's right. Quebec's coroner's office has now released a report on a Brazilian woman who died of hypothermia in the woods near Coaticook and the U.S. border in 2024. She apparently tried several times to cross the border but was turned away by Canadian officials. We'll have more on her death and reaction to it tonight. And there's a new report from Breast Cancer Canada on the state of breast cancer care in the country. We'll look at that as well. And we'll tell you about a noise complaint in Brossard that is going all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. That's all tonight at 11:30. Maya.
All right. Thank you very much, Caroline. Up next, dedicated fans down under.
I watch them on my phone at the beach.
Cheering on the Edmonton Oilers all the way from Australia.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
Increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca, your home for news. For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
It's do or die tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. They're down 3-2 against the Anaheim Ducks. As Evan Kenny reports, a couple of die-hard Oilers fans will be cheering on their team from the other side of the world.
For fans across the globe, the Edmonton Oilers are worth getting up for.
Sometimes the games are as early as 5 a.m., which we don't mind as well. We get up early.
I watch them on my phone at the beach.
Georgia and Ammon Chesworth are two Oilers fans from Gold Coast, Australia.
We've just come to see our neighbours and see what their thoughts are on the game so far. So what do you think, guys?
Georgia's mom is from Alberta and brought her love of the team with her when she moved down under.
I did grow up with a photo of Wayne Gretzky on my fridge. Yeah, and she would refer to him as her boyfriend, and that was my introduction to the Oilers and hockey.
Ammon married into the fandom and has had oil in his veins ever since. He never misses a game.
If I'm on site, I've got it on my phone playing, and all the boys are just listening in and forcing them to be Oilers fans too.
He's known as the local superfan and an honorary member of Oil Country.
The day I was actually getting it done, the Oilers were playing too, so I had that on my phone and I was watching there.
The two started posting about their love for the Oilers on social media.
Edmonton is so crazy and fun during the playoff season, and we would love to be there, but unfortunately we are here.
Hoping to find more Aussies to watch the games with, they say they want to recreate Edmonton's atmosphere.
Put ourselves in that environment and surround ourselves with so many passionate fans would just be incredible, and kind of share that enthusiasm and that passion.
The team saw the Chesworths' passion and reached out.
They were excited to see us cheering them on from all the way over here. They said that they're sending us something to help cheer them on.
They say if the Oilers make the finals for a third year in a row, they want to take in a game in person.
Play La Bamba, baby!
Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
Well, clearly hockey fever is alive and well, from Australia to Edmonton to here in Montreal. Tomorrow there's a game at the Bell Centre. Fans will be outside. What have they got in store for tomorrow?
Well, it is so far looking pretty good. Like a pretty nice and sunny day to hang by the Bell Centre. Here's how we're going to get there. We're looking at a low of 5 now for the night, expecting a wake-up temperature of 4 degrees, but we are also looking at those clouds clearing out starting this evening. So by about 3 in the morning, we can expect to see some much clearer skies. By tomorrow morning at 7, we're looking at full-on sunshine. We're expecting a few clouds to come back in as we move into the afternoon, but still seeing a fair bit of sunshine coming through, and we're expecting a high of 13 degrees for tomorrow. So good news for tomorrow's game here in Montreal. And then the weekend is looking pretty good as well. We see mixes of sun and clouds on both Saturday and Sunday, and daytime highs in the low teens. Maya?
Thanks, Anastasia, and thank you all for tuning in. Have a good evening.